Hello everybody, this is Manish Madan here. I have been getting lots of messages asking me to do a video on the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. So I figured I should honor the request. You've been reading my writing, so I appreciate that. So today we will talk about what is Citizenship Amendment Act, what are some of the problem areas, why is so much of protest that is resulted into, and what is the connection with the NRC, and then we will deal into several issues around this debate. So first, let's get right into it. What is Citizenship Amendment Act? It is an act that offers citizenship to any persons belonging to Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi or Christian community from Afghanistan, Pakistan or Bangladesh who entered into India on or before 31st December 2014 as long as they have been into country for the last 5 years. I'll explain to you this in Hindi also. ये एक्ट जो है सिटीजनशिप देगा उन लोगों को जो कि हिंदू समाज, सिख, बुद्धिस्ट, जैन, पारसी और क्रिश्चियन समाज से बिलोंग करते हैं और जो कि पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश और अफगानिस्तान से आए हुए हैं इंडिया में एज लॉन्ग एज जब वो 31 दिसंबर से पहले आए हों। इसमें समझने की बात ये है, द एक्ट सेज एनी पर्सन्स एंड एंटर्ड इनटू। सो ये दो कीवर्ड्स हैं, एनी पर्सन्स एंड एंटर्ड इनटू। एनी पर्सन में ये नहीं लिखा कि जो पर्सन को रिलीजियस परसिक्यूटेड बैकग्राउंड होना चाहिए है, कोई ऐसा मेंशन नहीं है। दूसरा, हु एंटर्ड इनटू में भी नहीं लिखा कि एंटर्ड आप किसी कंट्री में जा रहे हैं तो देयर इज अ रीजन यू आर गोइंग इनटू द कंट्री। अभी लोग जो है टूरिस्ट बन के आ सकते हैं, कोई लोग जो है हायर स्टडीज़ के लिए आ सकते हैं, कोई लोग जो अपने स्पिरिचुअल एक्सपीरियंस के लिए आ सकते हैं, कोई लोग जो है एक्चुअली में रिलीजियस परसिक्यूशन के लिए आ सकते हैं। सो दिस एक्ट डज नॉट आइडेंटिफाई दैट ऑल्सो। तो इसमें जो है एक बात क्लियर होती है कि द गवर्नमेंट इज मिसलीडिंग द नैरेटिव कि टू व्हेन दे से कि दिस एक्ट इज गोइंग टू बेनिफिट द रिलीजियस परसिक्यूटेड, दिस एक्ट इज रादर फॉर रिलीजियस परसिक्यूटेड पीपल। इट इज नॉट द केस। रिलीजियस परसिक्यूशन विल ऑल्सो कम इन दैट पॉपुलेशन ऑफ एनी पर्सन, बिकॉज जब एनी पर्सन आपने लिख दिया है तो इट इज ओपन टू एनीबडी। बट मजे की बात यह है कि एनीबडी में भी आपने एक जो फिल्टर डाल दिया है, यू हैव पुट द फिल्टर ऑफ द मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी एंड दैट इज वेयर द फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम इज। तो इसको ये समझने की बहुत ज़रूरी बात है। अगेन आई रिपीट इट, एनी पर्सन एंड एंटर इनटू आर वेरी की ऑपरेटिव टर्म्स इन दिस पर्टिकुलर एक्ट हियर, जिसकी वजह से ये सारा बवाल हो रहा है। दूसरा, सो अभी आप लोग बोलेंगे कि व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम इन गिविंग सिटीजनशिप टू दीज ग्रुप्स और टू दी जो फ्लीइंग पॉपुलेशन आ रही है। दैट my stance would be yes, India should support people from all countries of all destitute, poor population, what have you. India has a very open heart, so we are the people who says अतिथि देवो भव। so हम लोगों को बिल्कुल इनवाइट करना चाहिए और बिल्कुल उनको हेल्प करनी चाहिए। पर इसमें प्रॉब्लम समझने की कोशिश कीजिए। द प्रॉब्लम इज़ नॉट कि ये एक्ट क्या नहीं कर रहा है। जैसे गवर्नमेंट ने बोला कि दिस एक्ट जो है ये इंडियन मुस्लिम सिटीजन से सिटीजनशिप नहीं छीनेगा, ये एक्ट जो है इंडियन मुस्लिम्स को नहीं हैरास करेगा। फेयर इनफ एंड टोटली फाइन, राइट। और इसमें भी थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, वो बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे। पर ये जो एक्ट जो कर रहा है वो समझने की ज़रूरत है। जो ये एक्ट नहीं कर रहा है उस पर फोकस मत कीजिए, जो ये एक्ट कर रहा है उस पर फोकस कीजिए, और वन वे और दी अदर। सो अगेन आई रिपीट इट, द प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट टू whom the government is giving citizenship and help. You do it, it's good thing to help people, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज कि ये किसकी हेल्प नहीं कर रहा है वो समझने की ज़रूरत है। और वो जो नहीं हेल्प कर रहा है वो पॉपुलेशन आपकी जो है कैटेगोरिकली अनडॉक्यूमेंटेड मुस्लिम्स हैं एट दिस पॉइंट, जो इंडिया में हैं। उस पे बारे में आते हैं नेक्स्ट। सो देयरफॉर वन इज दैट समरी, ये एक्ट जो है वो रिलीजियसली परसिक्यूटेड पॉपुलेशन को एड्रेस नहीं कर रहा है जैसा गवर्नमेंट बोल रही है, बिकॉज इट इज ओपन फॉर ऑल एंड एज इट सेज एनी पर्सन्स। और दूसरा, इट सेज बिकॉज दे हैव एंटर्ड, तो ऐसा नहीं है क्योंकि भाग कर आया हुआ है तो उसको मदद कर रहा है, कोई भी कैसे भी आया हो सकता है। एज लॉन्ग एज दे आर फ्रॉम दीज 6 faiths बट मुस्लिम्स, they are fine, they will be getting the fast track citizenship under this act. तो इससे नतीजा ये निकलता है कि ये जो एक्ट है ये कैटेगोरिकली और सिस्टमेटिकली टारगेट करता है और एक्सक्लूड करता है अनडॉक्यूमेंटेड मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन को, जिसके कि बहुत ही गंभीर आउटकम्स आ सकते हैं और जो आएंगे भी। तो इसमें और दूसरा एक और बात हम ये कहेंगे, मान लीजिए एक पल के लिए गवर्नमेंट का नैरेटिव सही है कि हाँ ये रिलीजियस परसिक्यूटेड लोगों की ही मदद करने के लिए बनाया गया है, नॉट एनीथिंग एल्स। उस केस में भी अगर आप देखें तो इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो की रिपोर्ट से, ये की जो मेरे सामने है भी, जो कि जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी को सबमिट की गई थी, ओनली 31,313 पीपल हैव बीन आइडेंटिफाइड, जिसमें से कि 25,447 हिंदूज, 5,807 सिख्स, 55 क्रिश्चियन, 2 बुद्ध एंड 2 पारसीज हैं जिनको कि रिलीजियस परसिक्यूशन वाकई में है उनके कंट्री से, और जो इंडिया में है अभी, तो उनको सिटीजनशिप दी जाएगी। एंड आई एम वेरी ग्लैड, वेरी हैप्पी कि उनको आप गवर्नमेंट मदद कर रही है। वी शुड अपलॉड गवर्नमेंट्स एफर्ट इन डूइंग दैट। तो इससे मतलब ये निकलता है कि पर ये जो 31,000 लोग हैं, ये सिर्फ एक्ट इनके लिए नहीं है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये एक्ट इज फॉर एनीबडी, और वो एनीबडी में मुस्लिम्स क्योंकि एक्सक्लूड हो गए हैं। सो देयरफॉर द प्रॉब्लम्स आर व्हाट वी आर सीइंग ऑन द स्ट्रीट टुडे। अभी लोग कहेंगे कि व्हाट इज योर प्रॉब्लम इफ इट एक्सक्लूड्स मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन। मुस्लिम्स के लिए पाकिस्तान है, बांग्लादेश है, अफगानिस्तान है, दे कैन वेरी वेल गो देयर। सो उसमें देर आर मेनी फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम्स, सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दैट। उसमें प्रॉब्लम ये है कि पहली बात तो ये देखिए, इंडिया इज अ रिपब्लिक, सेक्युलर कंट्री, दैट्स द फंडामेंटल पार्ट ऑफ इट, जिसका कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है। सो व्हेन अ कंट्री हैज अडॉप्टेड इट्स कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, दैट मीन्स दैट एनी गवर्नमेंट दैट कम्स इनटू पावर, देयर रोल इज टू बी अ केयर टेकर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, नॉट टू बी द मलाइनर। और सो एज अ केयर टेकर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, आपको जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में आपको बस इन्फॉर्मेशन दी गई है, आपको एक आर्टिकल्स दिए गए हैं जिसमें कि फंडामेंटल राइट्स ऑफ द सिटीजन दी गई है, यू हैव टू प्रोटेक्ट दैट। सो यू हैव टू बी द वन टू स्पीक फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल गारंटीज जो लोगों को दी गई है। सो मुद्दे में आते हैं कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में। 3 मेन प्रॉब्लम्स हैं इस केस। आर्टिकल 14 एक है जो कि कहता है कि इक्वालिटी बिफोर द लॉ। दूसरा है आर्टिकल 21 जो कहता है कि प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लाइफ एंड लिबर्टी, और मैं इसमें एक्सप्लेन करूंगा इन अ मिनट। और तीसरा कहता है कि अमेंडमेंट 42 विच इज द सेक्युलरिज्म अमेंडमेंट। तो आर्टिकल 14 पे आते हैं। इट इज सेज इट राइट टू इक्वालिटी। वो ये कहता है कि एंड आई कोट, द स्टेट शैल नॉट डिनाई टू एनी पर्सन्स इक्वालिटी बिफोर द लॉ और इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द लॉज विद इन द टेरिटरी ऑफ इंडिया। तो इसमें मतलब क्या निकलता है कि it says any person, again remember that the term here, right? When it says that the equal protection of law hai, what it means is tomorrow, let's say if somebody from South Africa, somebody from America comes to India, right? Should they not be given equal protection under the law if something goes wrong? And the government thinks that this equal protection does not apply to people within the territory of India. It sends a critically wrong message to the global community also. So इसमें जो है, so now why is it a problem? Because you have picked on targeting just one minority community and treating them differently under the law, because now Citizenship Amendment Act is a law of the land. So now that law of the land is treating 6 communities differently and 1 community differently under the law, and that is an outright violation under the constitutional guarantees that are given, fundamental guarantees under the article 14 in this case. दूसरा आते हैं आर्टिकल 21 के ऊपर. So let's come on that. That one says protection of life and personal liberty. That says no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedures established by the law. इस law के interpretation बहुत सारे हैं. एक one of the interpretation is that people have the right to dignity of life, right? अभी dignity का मतलब ये है कि now think about this, when one community, which is the Muslim community, the undocumented one for now, is being treated differently, what message is it going to them, right? How is it hurting their personal self-respect also of the community, that they are being treated as a second-class citizens? They are being told that you are not going to be getting into this line of the fast-track citizenship, unlike the other 5 different religious denominations that we have identified. So therefore that also impacts the right to dignity under the article 21, and therefore it is also a violation under this constitutional guarantee that Indian Constitution provides to any person and every person. काफी लोगों ने आर्टिकल 15 को भी जोड़ा है, which is fundamentally incorrect. आर्टिकल 15 इस केस में वायलेट नहीं हो रहा है, because आर्टिकल 15 specifically focuses on citizens. तो उसमें जो है, please don't confuse that article 15 in this case. It doesn't apply on this one here. So next is आता है कि then we talk about the amendment 42 जो मैंने बोला, इस पे amendment 42 was added something around the time of the emergency, which basically added the idea of the secularism, which was already there, but they wanted to put it in writing also as part of our constitutional guarantees. So it said that 42nd amendment says that the Indian Constitution will uphold to the highest ideals of secularism, right? So now when you have said that, and when you are picking on just one religion over the 5 others, then that does not speak of your secular values, because secularism means that you are being equal to all religions. All religions are equal. You got two eyes, or both are equal to you. You can't choose. You can say one is better than the other, and that's what secularism here in this particular case example would fit in. That's first part. I hope that clears up. मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन को एक्सक्लूड करना जो है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली रॉन्ग क्यों है. सो 3 अगेन समिंग अप, आर्टिकल 14, 21 and amendment 42nd. Now these are my academic views as a criminal justice professor, but I'm sure Apex court, when they will sit on the 22nd of January, they will probably have more grounded reasons also to argue it in to uphold these constitutional guarantees for the people in India. So और दूसरा, क्योंकि you're talking about the territory within the territory of India, right? So take for example the second part that here comes in, which is the लोगों ने बोला aren't these constitutional rights applicable to only Indian citizens? And वहाँ पे एक fundamental flaw है, because I stress so much on no persons and every person and citizen. You have to understand that person is a classification, or rather citizenship is a classification under persons, right? We all are human beings, and within that, as we move into different countries, our statuses changes. So now the citizenship is different than being a persona here. Citizens have a right to vote. Citizens have a right to get a government job. Citizens have a right to be in defense, be armed forces. Citizen, now person cannot vote. A person cannot hold a government job. Okay. So please understand that. एक example अगर US Constitution से भी उठा के देखेंगे, जैसे US Constitution में First Amendment talks about that it says Congress shall make no law prohibiting freedom of speech or the right of the people. Now it says people, remember that, which means I'm in US, I may not be a US citizen, but that still does not mean that I don't have the right to free speech. So please understand that the right to person, people, and any person, no person, these are very critical legal terms. So you have to understand from that perspective. So इसीलिए जो है इसका अप्लाई होना ज़रूरी है इस केस में constitutional guarantees. Let's talk about the how many people does it impact in the near future in this case. So we'll take the case study of NRC in Assam that happened, right? उस केस में in Assam's population, they identified 19 lakh Muslim, 19 lakh, I beg your pardon, undocumented population as a result of the NRC exercise. 19 lakh में से 36%, right, which amounts to about closely 7 lakh population size, was the undocumented Muslims now. So now the question becomes, when you apply them, when you have this NRC under which your 7 lakh people, Muslims were identified, and now when you apply them under the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, and I'll explain the link in a minute, then invariably the 7 lakh Muslim population जो undocumented थी, they will remain undocumented, whereas the other 12 lakh population, all the other religions that I mentioned before, they will get the fast track citizenship under the Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019. Now you may argue कि इसमें दोनों में link क्या है? Why are we linking these two together, right? These are not linked together, and that is a fundamentally flawed argument if people are making that. बिकॉज आप ये असम गवर्नमेंट की आप ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट पे जा सकते हैं, एंड वहाँ से आई विल रीड इट हियर, फैक्ट्स ऑन द ग्राउंड. इट इज द प्रोविजन गवर्निंग द एनआरसी अपडेट ऑन असम आर द सिटीजनशिप एक्ट 1955, जब ये एक्सरसाइज बनी थी, जिस टाइम ऑब्वियसली 2019 वाला एक्ट नहीं आया था, एंड द सिटीजनशिप रजिस्ट्री एक्ट ऑफ 2003, एंड ऑल्सो इन द अकॉर्डेंस विद द असम अकॉर्ड जो 1985 का है. So now what happened in that terms, to ensure the fairness and the upholding of the laws of the land, which is the Citizenship Amendment Act of 1955, at this point the Supreme Court said that the NRC must be conducted in accordance to the Citizenship Amendment Act of 1955. And now that this act has been revised or amended to become 2019, which means now if the Supreme Court position is, obviously because now the law is updated, so unless the Supreme Court now categorically states that you cannot apply NRC under the same Citizenship Act, which will come as one of the question, until then you will have this law to guide the NRC process, the new act. And through this new act, the process, because the Muslims are excluded, so therefore you have these 7 lakh Muslims which are undocumented, and that will be rendered stateless. and be sent to the detention centers. Or people at Ramlila very ridiculously denied having it's called a white lie. So you're not only violating your own constitutional guarantees or upholding the articles, but you're also being morally bankrupt, and that is a very dangerous sign of a society as huge as India is. So I really hope that people start to really see the larger implications of where we are heading as a society. Take it as a request. Now also, because so now I explained the link of NRC and the Citizenship Amendment Act also. The question is, people might say, what will happen to the 7 lakh undocumented Muslims? So those 7 lakh people first will be not immediately sent to the detention centers. They will be sent to foreign tribunals to prove their papers, right? To prove for their case that they are citizens or they should be given citizenship. अच्छी बात है, they can go there. But अभी तक के जो prior reports हैं उसमें 95% of those cases, those who have gone to the foreign tribunals were denied citizenship, right? Or then therefore they were rendered illegal as illegal immigrants and therefore stateless, so therefore go back to the detention centers. So again, foreign tribunals can also create in itself a problem, as we have spoken. 95% of those cases were in the past declared illegal immigrants despite reapproaching them. So अभी बात आती है, दिस इज ओनली द केस स्टडी ऑफ असम बाय द वे, राइट? ह्यूमन डिस्प्लेसमेंट जब होती है इतने बड़े मैग्नीट्यूड में, उसके बहुत सारे इकोनॉमिक फैसेट्स होते हैं, बहुत सारे इकोनॉमिक कॉस्ट होते हैं और सोशल कॉस्ट होते हैं, पॉलिटिकल कॉस्ट तो आप देख ही रहे हैं. इनफैक्ट इवन इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल कॉस्ट यू कैन सी थ्रू व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन इन द कंट्री एट दिस पॉइंट. So that's a huge problem. In fact, as a matter of fact, with the last count, 28 people so far have been reported to be dead have died during have been in the detention centers. And in fact, some people have also committed suicide because they were afraid of not finding the papers. So all those, that is a human cost. Somebody is losing a life, even. And for people may say, what is a threshold? To me, even one life is a threshold here. If you're losing even that one life as a result of this botched up and this divisive process, politics, it's something that we need to really look into. Number 8, people will say, but you're wrong. The Citizenship Amendment Act is only for religious persecuted population. I trust our government, which is fine. You all can trust whoever you want to, that is fine. It doesn't changes what is out there in the black and white in the papers. So please go and read the Constitution, go and read the Act if I'm not making sense here to you. Again, Citizenship Amendment Act is not written for religiously persecuted population. It says any person. So, and that is any person who entered into the country for any reason. It doesn't even say the reasons. So, and that is why it becomes a problematic area. So now the question is, what is wrong with sending the illegal immigrants to detention camps? I think the answer to that, my answer is the fact that you're asking this question, what is wrong in sending people to detention camps in 2019 onwards, or any time in our history, there's something problem. You probably need to rethink about, reevaluate the life choices you want to make for yourself by asking that question. But being more concrete here, what is wrong in sending the illegal immigrants to detention camps? It is wrong because it violates the India's constitutional guarantees that are given, and also because there's also a problem of the discrimination that comes as a result of that in terms of the targeting of the certain communities. So now the question becomes is what are the long term implications, इसके long term cost क्या है nation को, हमारे country को, and let's talk about that. So again मैं NRC असम का ही एग्जांपल यूज़ करूँगा. असम के एक्सरसाइज में 10 साल लगे उस एक्सरसाइज को करने के लिए. करीब 52,000 एम्प्लॉयज़ लगे. 52,000 एम्प्लॉयज़ वर गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयज़. रिसोर्सेज वर यूज इन द ह्यूमन मैन पावर. Then the cost to the government of India, which is actually the taxpayers, I mean you are paying for it. About 1,220 crore rupees were spent just to conduct this exercise, and the cost of, in fact, to my last read, the cost to even build a 45 people, some 3,000 people detention camp was somewhere close to 45 crore Indian rupees. So you're talking about massive cost expense here, and the question becomes the cost of what, right? So let's talk about that now. आउटकम क्या हुआ? सो इनपुट था 10 साल की आपकी जो है टाइम स्पेंड, 52,000 लोगों की एम्प्लॉयमेंट लगी और 1220 करोड़ जो है आपके उसमें खर्चा आया. नॉट काउंटिंग, दिस डजंट इंक्लूड द कॉस्ट मैंने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट कॉस्ट बताई आपको. Outcome क्या निकला? The outcome is only 19 lakh people were identified in this NRC Assam exercise, जिसमें कि and you can now calculate 1220 करोड़ को डिवाइड कीजिए 19 लाख से, तो you will know कि पर बंदा कितना कॉस्ट आया to identifying this undocumented people, और उसमें भी 7 लाख लोग जो है वो जाएंगे इन कैंप्स के अंदर. So now it is for you to think as the citizens of India, as the taxpayers of India, is this something where you want the government to spend the money on? 12 you have to really see the longer implications here. दूसरा ये कि आप ये देखिए कंट्री की इकोनॉमी तो शैम्बल्स में है, राइट? हाईएस्ट अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट वी हैव दैट, लोएस्ट फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स वी हैव द हाईएस्ट विड्रॉल्स ऑफ द फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. एजुकेशन में द कंट्री हैज सेड, इनफैक्ट इन JNK they actually cannot even invest the money because of the lack of funds with the government. There's a report on that. You don't have the infrastructure, right? Should you be investing in the money in the building the better infrastructure, in building better roads, so the young students don't die as a result of a pothole or as a result of a hoarding falling on them, right? Or you want to invest the money in the healthcare, which is where the children don't die to the midday meal scams, or to the AES, or where the doctors are not abused in India, where you have the soldiers. A lot of right-wing politics talks about the whole army, the law enforcement. Don't you want your money to be spent on police reforms? Don't you want your money to be spent on the criminal justice reforms, on building up, making sure where the soldiers serving in Kargil and other hot areas, they have the appropriate resources, which is let's say the snow glasses, the boots, and the requisite foods, etc. Don't you want your money to be spent on those places? So if you're really talking about being a nationalist, being a patriot, I think you have far more important places to spend the money on, rather than identifying and isolating people and polarizing people just based on a religious basis, which again is constitutionally invalid grounds to do that. Now the last question आते हैं इस बारे में कि does it impact Indian Muslims? That's the bigger question actually we should have. And by the way, before I address this question, I would also go back to that my numbers point here, which is even as a business model, when you invest so much money in a business and your outcome is so little, and if you still want to invest into that business, there is something fundamentally wrong, and there is some hidden agenda that you must recognize. Because no smart businessman, even if you want to, for the sake of it, you want to isolate a population, the undocumented Muslims, no sane businessman would invest money where your returns are so marginally poor. Rather, they're far worse than poor. So if you're still going ahead with that, then clearly there's a separate agenda altogether that is going on. So now the question coming back here, does it impact the Indian Muslims? Actually, that's the bigger part here. Legally, it does not impact at this point. That I should say that. But everything is not legal impact here. There are also sociological impacts here. Ask around any Muslim friend of yours, are they worried? I have been receiving messages from people, from citizens, Muslims, some of my friends, and some on the page, who have told me that how scared they are, because of all that is going on, because of the environment it creates. You have to understand, some of these legislations, when they are targeting certain communities, they also are designed to create a fear in those communities, and those are the social cost to that. So now, and that is a very, very dangerous precedent we are entering into in this country now. So because the onus now will be on the citizens to prove their citizenship once the NRC is implemented nationwide, which obviously the government has claimed at many times. What is not to say if there is an error in the application that is made, right? We all know the cases of the family of the former president of India. What are you kidding? Who are you kidding about, right? A Kargil war army veteran. They were denied getting a citizenship, or they were excluded from the NRC list just because their paperwork, there was some issue with the paperwork or what have you. And now because they are Muslims, and because the CAA is the law of the land, which is what is the law that provides route to citizenship in this particular scenario. So now they are excluded now, and their crime was that they were Muslims, and that is where a fundamental problem is. Once the country starts a systematic process of purging minority population, We all have learned from the history what happened in Holocaust, when the Nuremberg race laws were made to isolate the German Jewish population, and what it resulted into. About almost 6 to 15 million people were exterminated systematically in a gradual process. And that is, again, I'm not doing a dog whistle here, but these are some of the historical facts that do exist for us to know about. Then South Africa, apartheid happened, which obviously discriminated against the black South Africans. It took about decades and decades up until 1990s, and you may have even heard about Nelson Mandela, who fought against the apartheid laws. These are, so now, because now you're isolating the people systematically, when you connect it with the foundation of the BJP government, which is so rooted into the RSS ideology, and that is when you start to connect things. One of the fundamental problems that I have experienced in explaining people is when they start to look at only a cross-sectional point of view, which is एक टाइम पॉइंट पे ही वो सोच रहे हैं, वो चीज़ों को लॉन्ग टर्म पे कनेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम. आप लोगों को इस पूरे मॉडल को लॉन्ग टर्म पे कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा, राइट फ्रॉम द टाइम ऑफ द ओरिजिन of the RSS, then the Jansangh, then the BJP, and now obviously where we are. Usme, in fact, you add the Babri Masjid also as one of the case points here. Then you add Godra, and now here we are, and now where we are. So you have to see things in a pattern, in a longitudinal fashion, to know why we are heading into a very, very dangerous territory at this point as a country. The last question is that, so do I have any solutions, and do I have any suggestions for my beloved country? I actually do, for what it's worth. One is that government must legislatively bring new amendment to this Amendment Act and make it religion neutral. You must remove all religion from it. Just say any person who entered into the country, and you have a cutoff date of 2014 already. So some people may question about the resources. India, obviously, India itself is a poor country. We don't have too many resources. I understand that. But if you really look at Assam as a case study, we only identified 19 lakh 19 lakh undocumented population. So 19 lakh के लिए हमारे पास जगह नहीं है क्या 1.3 billion लोगों में, as an example. And even if you extrapolate the 19 lakh population, I would fail to believe that we cannot accommodate those many people. Instead of spending the money that you already are, which is in thousands of crores, and that also number will jack up when you will do this nationwide exercise. So that's where the problem is, that you're talking about even from an evaluation perspective, this was a failed business model, so you rather would use your money in a better way and also invest in the human capital that already is out there. The second is that, so first is government must legislatively bring new amendment to this act to make it religion neutral. दूसरा, डीलिंक दी एनआरसी विद द सीएए. ये डीलिंग करना भी बहुत ज़रूरी है इसको सीएए के साथ, बिकॉज दैट इज़ वेयर द बिगर प्रॉब्लम इज़. Although I would tell you this here, it will imply that the Supreme Court has to reverse its position and say that the NRC should be done not under the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, and perhaps there should be new guidelines that will be set up. Next is because this is a technical part here, because for every law of the land there is an effective date, that from the date it will be enforced. So now obviously it passed through Lok Sabha, through Rajya Sabha, President signed, now it's a law of the land, all that is good. But if you read the law carefully enough, it actually does not state that there is a date of the enforcement yet. In fact, I will read that to you here in a second. It says that it shall come into force on such a date as the central government may by notification in the official gazette appoint. So which means that, and so far I haven't seen a government issued a date of enforcement of this law yet. So this law hasn't really come into effect per se at this point. What it means that the government actually can table this legislation, this Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019 indefinitely, in which case your 1955 will continue to be enforced. So that retracting the NRC exercise immediately, that is one, and also amending the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 to make it religious neutral, and also tabling this existing act indefinitely. These are some of the three core solution areas that I can offer here. Now last thing, which is my opinion here, which is India have this point been into almost second week of the protest now. About 25 people have been dead at this point. I don't know how many of them have been Hindus or Muslims, but it is the loss of a human life. Families have lost their loved ones forever. Please try to understand that. Let's not make it a who's winning the war here. We are losing it. India is losing its social capital. India is losing its soul, and that is where we all should try to protect at this point. And what are we losing to? We are losing the innocent lives to the mindless politics of hate, division, and polarization. The country resources needs to be spent at far better places, I've explained earlier in my video. This NRC exercise, as we also understand, is a failed tactic from a business model perspective also, that I explained to you with the numbers. It's also a diversionary tactic from the actual needs of the country, uplifting economy, poverty, education, health reforms, police, judiciary reforms, criminal justice reforms, infrastructure reforms. So many things are there that the country needs to be done. Then people must really spend their time at this point in uniting and healing the country at this point, and holding the governance accountable to the needs of the ordinary citizen. एक आम आदमी को प्याज चाहिए है, एक आम आदमी को पार्ले जी का बिस्किट चाहिए है, एक आम आदमी को एक साफ़ सुथरी कंट्री चाहिए है, एक आम आदमी को पोल्यूशन फ्री कंट्री चाहिए है, एक एनवायरमेंटली क्लीन कंट्री चाहिए जहाँ पे उनके बच्चे सेफली पढ़ सकें और ग्रो कर सकें, जहाँ पे कि वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन ना हो. आपकी वी हैव बीन नाउ द फर्स्ट, वी आर द मोस्ट डेंजरस कंट्री व्हेन इट कम्स टू द वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन. So there are so many core issues that exist in the country, and now the government has time and resources to polarize people on these mindless and divisive issues, and that is really a disturbing note for somebody who has observed Indian politics for a while and being a critical observer for that, I would say that. So on that note, stay safe and keep warm. It's getting cold. Get your mufflers out. And one thing that people have also asked me, what can we do at this point? Organize, study, get educated, and organize again, because now you're talking about a democracy that is hinging on the numbers. If you don't have the numbers, if you're not organized yourself, then again you will lose the narrative once again. So on this note, you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. I will look forward to your comments and your responses. Stay warm and stay secular. Take care, guys. Bye bye.